The Manuscript of Survival, Part 415. May 8, 2014. The tide of humanity has indeed passed a crucial point by now, and as these surges of energetic information keep washing over you, you will find yourself seeing the density of yesterday with a sharper eye than before. Let us explain. Again, what you see is not an accurate representation of what you are truly getting, and even if this is not news to any of you, we will still maintain the need to remind you of it. For as you still see reality very much through the eyes of a human, you will also continue to overlook the truth that lies beneath this veil of confusion. It is not hidden from view, rather, it is kept from your perception by your insistence to focus on the overlaying layers of intrusion and confusion. And so, what is there in full view will seem as if hidden in a mist of much speculation, frustration, and indeed anger at times, for you will feel as if pushing on an impenetrable wall of light that resists to let you enter. Well, that is not the case, but again this is all in the eye of the beholder, and as long as the beholder has chosen to maintain a distance to the layers within, so the veil will seem to thicken instead of opening up. And so, what is there to discover will seem to become more and more elusive as those thin layers obscuring them all will seem to grow thicker and more miasmic by the day. Again, we speak in convoluted terms, and again, we seem to be repeating the same message. But again, the truth is very simple, and it is attainable for all, but as yet, circumstances seem to separate more than unite. But that is not the case. For even if you think you are constantly stumbling over roadblocks and bumping into blind corners, you are in fact moving in the right direction. But the problem is, you think you are not, and so you keep closing your eyes to the obvious, and you think the darkness is gathering momentum. Nothing could be further from the truth, for what is actually going on is that you have come so close to the source of all light, the brightness of it will make you screw your eyes shut to protect them from the glare. That is understandable indeed, as you are still very much accustomed to living within a much dimmer environment, and as the magnitude of the light keeps increasing, your brain will react by trying to close down any apertures admitting the light, so as to keep the old and much more familiar levels intact. Again, this is understandable, for it is an instinctive reaction, so in this, it takes a bit of an effort on your part to allow all of this light to shine all the way in. For you need not go around half-blinded by this light, not if you allow yourself to give up the idea of the need to control it in any way. Remember, this incoming rush of information is enough to make the sturdiest amongst you to falter a bit, and so, you will try to steady yourself in any way you can, and so, you will try to filter out at least some of the incoming light. And the outcome of this will be a growing sense of unease and imbalance, and a sense of bewilderment. For you will think it is more difficult than ever to discern which way to go next, and so, it will be as if you are stumbling over your own feet in order to find the right way. But again, all you have to do is to simply let yourself go with this heavenly flow of loving light, for it will take you there, to that place you have been searching for, seemingly forever. You see, you cannot see the way ahead clearly, for this is in fact not an orderly road, paved and marked out for you to follow. That is not how this works. For you have followed that straight and narrow road for lifetimes now, and that is why you ended up where you are today. But now, you must let all the old charts and navigational systems you have been so well trained to obey fall at the wayside. And now, you must allow yourself to be taken out of the old comfort zone of predictability and let yourself be free to roam wherever this incoming flux of light will take you. For it may take you far and wide, not necessarily in the physical sense, more as in the sense of breaking down any last barriers remaining within you. For now, it is truly time for you to allow yourself to take to the wings and set off into worlds unknown, worlds that are awaiting you, far, far closer than you think. You have a concept you call armchair traveling, and in many ways, this is exactly what we are referring to. For you need to allow yourself to be taken on a tour of the unknown that lies within you, to the wealth of undiscovered territory that lies there, beckoning you to come and visit it. For that is where the true adventures lie, but that is also where you think the dragons reside, just like on the old maps delineating the borders between the known and the unknown. For even if you are all more than eager to leave this version of reality behind, there are still some mechanisms of fear within you, holding you back from taking this plunge to pluck up the courage and simply lose yourself in the well of possibilities that awaits you within. Again, that is easy to understand, for you have been trained well to think that this will entail so much danger, as you will be apt to simply lose yourself completely in the labyrinthine recesses of your inner being, so the safest tip will be to stay on the surface, where you can still see the light from the entrance. Well, that may be the case for the so-called normal version of a human being, but remember, you have already come a long way from that old version of you, and for you, it is about time you volunteered to venture even further in. For there you will find that the light is actually increasing, not dimming down, but again, this abrupt increase in light will have many of you turning back from it because you fear the exposure to so much light will perhaps be detrimental in some ways. Nothing could be further from the truth, but just like a timid child, seeking comfort in the familiar will seem to be the natural thing to do when something so powerful suddenly manifests itself into your life. And even if this is something that is happening in order to help you finally see the real truth hiding behind the facade of your humanity, it can seem to be so overpowering at first that you need to step back and leave it for later. We know that many of you have had some deep forges within already, and for some of you, the effect of meeting up with this intensity has been just as we have described above, while for others, they have no recollection at all at even reaching that kind of depths within. But that does not mean that any of you are still stuck in those shallow waters of yesterday, for this is a process that all of you are going through at the moment. For this is indeed an unavoidable part of the process of true reconnection with the core, for it entails full exposure to the full potential of all of creation, and in this, there is no way around it. So that is why we are here, to remind you all that this path ahead, no matter how daunting it will seem, and no matter how difficult it may seem to navigate, this way forward is perhaps the easiest part of it all. For the way forward is as simple as to stop thinking and simply allow it to happen. You need no compass, you need no detailed descriptions as to where, how and when to do it. For the light will guide to there, it will scoop you up in its loving arms and carry you all the way to source, if you allow it to do so. And remember, there is nothing there that can hurt you in any way, no matter how strong the glare from this light will seem to be on your eyes. For this is where you came from originally, so this is simply you in your primary form, and this is where you will return to. It will not be the first time, for this is the place you go whenever you leave the current physical vehicle you inhabit. For as you transit from one life to another, you take a detour back to source before you once again start a new tour of humanity in another human form, but this time, it is different. For this time, you will return to source still within that physical frame, still living as a human being, and you will go back to source in order to regain all of your inherent faculties for then to return back in that same physical vehicle, but this time, you go back armed with your full potential as a lighted being within that human container. In other words, that instinct of flinching back you experience whenever you venture close enough to this brilliant source of light you all carry within, is the natural instinct of fearing death. For as you have all passed through this door of light so many times before, you all know so well that going in through that light means leaving your physical life behind. For that door has been seen as the final exit from your earthly sojourn, and so, you will balk at the thought of venturing in through that door at this moment in time. Again, this is understandable, but this time, it will not be an exit, it will simply be like a revolving door, one that will bring you into the light for the briefest of moments for then to send you back into your world again as the same person inhabiting that same physical body but fully immersed in the brilliance that can only be obtained by being fully connected to this same source. We know these words may leave your head spinning faster than any revolving door, so we will leave it at that for now. Let us simply sum this up in this way. You are all fast approaching that final revealing of the true light within, but as you have all become programmed with the idea that passing through this stage means exiting life, it will take some effort on your part to keep going forwards this time. For as the light increases, you will think that your hold on this earthly sojourn is slipping away, and you will feel as if you are losing it all. You are not, you will in fact gain everything there is to know. But even if you know this beforehand, you will still have some issues with the urge to control it all. But the urge to control comes from those last remnants of fear you still harbor within. As the fear of dying have been so deeply ingrained within you all, so shying away from this brilliant light comes instinctively. Again, we do not say this to berate you, neither should you harbor any such thoughts for yourself, for this is simply a natural reaction. But that is why we are here to gently guide you ever onwards, ever inwards, closer and closer to this immense light that is waiting to welcome you in. And remember, you will not be swallowed up by it. Rather, you will be filled up by it in such a way, you will be able to literally fill the entire world with this light as soon as you step back out again. And step back out again you will, for that is why you are here, to drink your fill as often as needed, for then to return into your world and help quench the thirst of everyone around you. For remember, this light is not your light, this light cannot be contained, for this light is for all, and through you, it will finally become available to all. The Constant Companions. Channeled by Asia North. asianorth.wordpress.com